Man, it feels good, guys, to be back. Sitting here, haven't really put out much content of my own the last week and a half. I've been sick. Feel a lot better. If you guys have caught me on the Unofficial Steelers Podcast, I have mentioned that I was sick, but I still did the shows on there. So I got some of those down this week and this past weekend. But thank you all for tuning in here. I have no idea what episode this is because I haven't looked. I need to look. But it will be in the title of the video, and it will be somewhere in there. But somewhere in the 60s, somewhere in the late 60s, maybe episode 60. Oh, wait, no, it's not even the 60s. What is it? It's episode 75. It's episode 75, so shout out to my girlfriend Kelsey on that. My media manager over here for the show. I'm just kidding. But she comes in the clutch there. So episode 75 of In Hindsight. I was way off. But thank you guys for tuning back in here on the channel. If you guys would hit the thumbs up and the subscribe, I appreciate it. It just helps things grow, help me continue to reach a good core audience here. And that's what we want to continue to do here on the show. And as I implement to people who are just coming across me, and even to new subscribers and viewers, this show is something that I do because I love it, and it's something that I do because I want to grow it, but I also want to have you guys implement it as well. I don't just want you guys in the comment section. I want to implement my audience in some way or fashion as my channel continues to build. But that will come along with time, so I need your guys' help and support, and I appreciate all of it. And I want you guys to be able to come on here and be able to tune in like it's your show, if that makes sense. That you guys are welcome, that you guys interact, and you guys are featured and everything like that, because it's something I've always liked, man. I've always liked that. But what we're going to talk about in here, not a long episode, guys, not a long episode on here, but I'm going to talk about, and as you can see it in the thumbnail, that for the Pittsburgh Steelers, we know where they're at right now as a team. We know they're sitting at 1-4. We know things have not looked good. We know that they're not as good as we thought they were going to be, but no one really thought that they were going to be this juggernaut. I mean, they definitely weren't, but no one didn't really think that they weren't set up as a team to have long-term success this year anyway. They were kind of a team, I believe they were 7.5 wins over under on the Vegas odds going into the year. They were a team that were kind of borderline playoff team, maybe not playoff team going this year just because of certain questions going into the new season, things like that. But I can say for a fact that a lot of us did not expect them to be this bad starting out. And I said from the start that their start of the season was very important. It was very important to have a strong start if you want to start this season strong, if you want to have a good year, and they have failed at that. And there's a variety of reasons, guys. We can all sit here in the comment section, myself, Twitter, Facebook, whatever it is. We can all sit here and talk about what needs to be done better, what changes need to happen, what the organization needs to do. We can all put our thoughts, we can all put our opinions out there. But I'm going to come on here with a little bit of a different thought process. And what that thought process is that, and look, I'm just as disappointed and disgusted as every other Steeler fan out there. Me coming into the season, I didn't view this team as any more than a 10-win team. I said, if things go right this year, defensively, if Mitch plays well, or maybe they switch to Kenny early enough on, if a lot of things go well, I could see them maybe around a 10-win team vying for a wild card situation. But I said I like them around maybe 8 or 9 wins, just because there were some questions at quarterback. We didn't know how good Mitch was going to be. We know Matt Canada was a concern. We know the offensive line going into the year was a concern. Stephon Tuitt retired. We know that their run defense was a big concern last year. Can that get fixed? So there were a lot of questions coming into this year. There were some things to be excited about. Obviously, Kenny Pickett, George Pickens, Miles Jack, a couple other of the signings, James Daniels on the offensive line. There were. But even though I had them around an 8 and 9 win team, I said, regardless, I still think that they'll be kind of what they usually always are. That they're kind of always there in the mix, always a competitive team, regardless of how great or not so great they are as a team. They're always kind of there, regardless. But that's not the case right now. And my perspective I want to give is this. And it says it in my thumbnail that it is okay to fail. Now, I know and I understand in terms of people with the Steelers play, them being 1-4, things like that. Absolutely. I think if they did a couple different things, I absolutely think that they could have 1 or 2 more wins on their record. But at the end of the day, this wasn't a team going far either. Now, sitting at 1-4, statistics are against them in the sense of being a playoff team. But can things get better? Yeah, things can, I think. TJ Watt comes back. Defense starts playing better. Kenny Pickett starts, obviously, he had his first career start last week in Buffalo. He starts kind of helping producing more offense than what they had. Yes, things can get better. But what I want to come on here and say is that it's okay for the Steelers to fail. The Steelers have not been in a situation like this in years. And not in a situation where they've been 1-4 or something like that. They've been in a situation like that in 2019. They were in that with Ben missing the whole year and Mason Rudolph, Duck Hodges playing, but they had a great defense that season, the best defense in the league. They were 8-5 at one point after a 1-4 start and finished 8-8. So yes, they've been in a spot like this. They started 1-3 last year. They started 0-4 back in 2013 or 12, whatever year it was. So yes, they've been in those spots, but in the sense of how bad of a team and everything like that, or the potential of having that 4, 5, 6 win season, they haven't had something like that in 18 years. And I know that a lot of people out there are calling for Tomlin's head and stuff like that. Tomlin, we know, has not had a losing record his whole career. But again, what's the standard to that? Just that, we don't finish under 500 or we lose in the first round of the playoffs like we have been for the last X amount of years. That's kind of the standard it's at. So if the Steelers win 9 games, like, who cares? Like, who cares if they win 7 this year? Because their over-under was 7.5. Most people didn't really think they were going to win more than 10 if certain things went right. And they might not even hit 8. So it's one of those things like, does the losing record really even matter? And I don't really think a lot of Steeler fans really put a lot into it. I think it's more of a national media type thing. But it's okay. You look at all these coaches, man. You look at Andy Reid before he went to Kansas City. He was struggling in Philly. He was having losing seasons in Philly. Okay. You look at Sean Payton. He's won 5 games with Drew Brees before, man. They used to wear bags on their heads, Saint fans. You look at Pete Carroll. He's had some losing seasons with Seattle. You look at the list goes on and on. John Harbaugh's had losing seasons. I can go over all the coaches. I can go through each and every team and all these coaches that have had losing seasons in their tenures with teams that they've been with for a long time. Mike Tomlin hasn't had one, but this year it's possible he has one. But with them sitting at 1-4, things looking ugly defensively with the players, everything like that. Yes, they're on a trajectory right now of having a losing season. How many wins they finish off with, who knows? But they're on that trajectory, and it's more likely it's going to happen than it's not. Now, who knows, any given Sunday, things like that. But I think at the same time, like I said, this team wasn't going far this year. We know this. There were too many changes, too many questions, too many things to rely on for it to work out this year in the sense of them being a strong team. Not saying being in the mix or making the division interesting or something like that, but there was too much to rely and hope on in the sense of them having a double-digit win season and making a run the playoffs. It was too much to ask for. It wasn't going to happen this year. So that's what I mean. So, like, if you're a Steeler fan, do you want them to hit 9 wins and miss the playoffs, or would you probably rather them just battle through their adversity, win 6-7 games or something like that, have a better pick, and really weed out the weeds that need pulled with this organization and with this team? And I think the team right now is pretty much at rock bottom. You can't get much lower than where they're at right now. So obviously as a fan, you would hope that this team would start rallying around and pulling out wins and stuff like that. But from this perspective to you guys, this isn't really the case here. It's that if the Steelers fail, they finish under 500, they miss the playoffs, regardless of how many wins, it's okay. Because Mike Tomlin has never had a high draft pick. This organization has not been in this spot for years. And I think, too, that's why you're seeing a lot of turmoil, guys, because players on the team aren't used to this, right? Fans, we aren't used to this. And every team has these, even if it's a stable team or a team that's got a good future, a good roster, they have down years. They have losing years. It happens. The Steelers haven't had that in 18 years, which is a remarkable thing. But it really might be necessary in the sense of seeing where the team is, getting rid of people, not re-signing people, whatever it may be. For them to get to this point, it needs to open eyes. It needs to be a big eye-opener. And things need to change in the organization. Things need to change with how things are ran. This isn't the 1970s. This isn't the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s anymore. The league has changed. Offense in the league has changed. The way the league is ran has changed. The way organizations run their teams have changed. The successful organizations that we have seen the last several years in this league have changed. It's no longer a league where you need a great defense to win championships. It's no longer a league where you can just go by mediocrity offensive play to win games. No. It's a big difference. And that's why we all know Matt Canada needs to go. But that's one of many things that need to change. But what I'm saying is that if the Steelers are hitting rock bottom right now, or even just throughout the rest of the year, they need this. They need that adversity. They need that pressure. They need that because we know that there are things in that organization that needed to change this offseason that did not change, that have needed to change a few years ago and that have not changed. And this is the thing. This might be the catalyst of it all, based on how the rest of this year goes, that things might finally change. That Rooney's like, hey, I'm not accepting this. We haven't won a playoff game since 2016. We've been either missing the playoffs or we're first-round exits. It can't be happening. So we can all sit here, like I said, and name and agree on everything in the sense of what needs to be better, what changes need to be made now into the offseason, 100%. But for this case, is that I'm viewing it as, look, if the Steelers turn things around, awesome. And us as fans, we obviously want to root for our team. We obviously want to see success. And us as Steelers fans, we have a different perspective and a different standard from different organizations because this franchise is all about winning championships. That's always their mindset. Now, obviously, we haven't had that in quite a while in the sense of winning a Super Bowl, but their mindset's to always compete, to always be in the mix, regardless of where the team's at. That's always their mindset. But for this year, we know that this team, it was going to take a lot for this team to have anywhere near a long-term success run this year. So, where they're at this year, they have promising talent for the future. They still have good talent on the roster, just guys aren't playing well. There's a disconnect there. There's a divide. There's lack of effort. Things aren't working with coaching. So yes, so all those things are a problem, but talent's still there, and they can make the right moves in this offseason. This team isn't far away, guys, from being a pretty strong team, from contending again. They're really not. So it's really about this year, Kenny Pickett's growth, watching some of these young guys grow. And yes, you obviously want to see guys turn around. You want to see guys play, get better. Obviously, that's what you want to see. But for this year, is that, yes, we want to see those things, but at the same time, we can't expect them to just completely turn the ship around, make the playoffs, stuff like that. That's highly unlikely that they're going to make the playoffs sitting at 1-4. Sure, anything can happen. It's happened before. But at the same time, that's why I'm out here saying is that, yes, it sucks they're 1-4. Yes, us Steeler fans always want the team to do well and succeed, and we all have a different standard for this team and this organization. That's why it's set apart from a lot of different organizations and franchises in the league. But this is going to happen. Like, what they're going through now was bound to happen at some point. You can't keep guys forever. Guys can't play at certain levels forever. The team can't function at a certain level for all these years. There's going to be times where things don't work out, choices don't work out, plans don't work out, and that's what we're seeing right now. And like I said, sure, they can turn things around a little bit this year and get better in a lot of different areas and string up some wins, which I think will happen, to be honest. But at the same time, it might be a good thing, guys, this is happening, so we can get real change that this organization has needed for a while. And that's really what I'm out here saying. Is that, yes, it sucks where the team is, and it's disappointing and disheartening to watch. And especially because I think we all expected them to be better than this. Not necessarily this playoff team or a team making a run in the playoffs, but we did expect better from defense. This was supposed to be a defense that's supposed to be a top defense this year. We did expect better. We expected better from certain guys on offense, and Najee Harris, Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool. Those guys aren't producing. Those guys are not showing up for whatever reasons. You can dissect that all you want. But at the end of the day, this was not a team that was going to be set up for long-term success this year. There was going to be too much to ask for that. There were things to be excited about this year, I think. And like I said, they had the opportunity, I think, to kind of keep their name in the division and try to maybe get something going. But it was too much to ask in terms of those type things. And like I said, they have good talent there. Some guys just aren't playing good. Some guys on the team just aren't good. Coaching isn't good. Personnel isn't good. But they're not far away from being a winning team. They're not far away from being a strong team in the AFC. They're really not. And but that's what I'm saying is that it's okay to have a season of failure. It's okay to have a season of failure. Pretty much every head coach in the NFL has had that. Mike Tomlin has not had that yet. And even though we can all say, oh, them missing the playoffs is a failure, but in a failure in the sense of record, in a sense of having a high draft pick, stuff like that, he has not had that to work with. And that's why I'm not on the fire Tomlin train, though I don't agree with a lot of things he's done this year. But sometimes you need these things to happen to pull out the things that need to go. And that's the point that I'm making. And hopefully the Steelers are seeing that. And yes, us as fans obviously want to see them turn things around and get better. But that's what I'm saying at the same time, that even though if they don't, like, it's okay. Like, yes, it sucks. Yes, it's frustrating. Yes, there needs to be accountability. Because this isn't the Steeler way, obviously, in the sense of them being this bad. Like, they don't roll that way. But at the same time, we kind of know how they are as a team, and we know in the sense of really what their potential was this year wasn't ultimately that high. And that's what I'm saying. It's okay to have a season like that, I think. As much as we don't want to have a season like that, I think it's okay to at the same time, because the Steelers haven't had one in a long time. And sometimes when guys start leaving, start retiring, stuff like that, you need to have something like that. Now, the Steelers are never going to be in a situation of where they just need to tear everything down and have all these years to rebuild. Not at all. They don't function that way. They don't need to. They develop guys too good to do that. Now, their drafts lately haven't been very good. And that's also a result in the sense of where they are, because they have failed to kind of prepare themselves for life after Roethlisberger. But still, they're a team that wants to win. They're a team that doesn't rebuild. They obviously hate that word. But even if they continue to struggle this year or have a losing record, even if they win some more ball games and get better, but still have a losing record or don't get anywhere, they're still not far away from being a strong team. And I think next year, if they play their cards right and everything like that, they can get themselves back in that category. Absolutely. But this year, we obviously want to see growth from Pickett. We want to see growth from George Pickens. We want to see guys that are part of this future, like Najee Harris, Deontay Johnson, certain guys in the offensive line go from here to here. We obviously want to see the defense. We obviously want to see the team be better this year. We want to see them obviously grow and not be in this spot all year long, obviously. But that's what I'm saying, too, that if things are not getting better, or even if they do a little bit, but you know, they're not going to they miss the playoffs, or they finish with 6-7 wins, whatever it is. Like, I think it's still okay to have something like that, because you need to see what needs to go. You need to see what needs to go in the organization, what needs to go on the team, who needs to get out of here, you know, who you need to replace, where you need to get better at. Starts to become a lot more clear. And that's what I'm saying. It might be something that's really the catalyst for the change that needs to happen. So that's really what I'm on here saying. Obviously, I would love nothing more than to see them turn things around and have a great, strong finish and, you know, find themselves at 10 wins, 11 wins, make the playoffs. I mean, obviously, you can dream and fantasize and everything like that. Obviously, we all want them to do well, to have good years, to have good careers, to succeed as a franchise. Yes, we do, but we know that there's going to be points where they hit that, and it was bound to happen, and it's hitting right now. But there are resolutions. There are things that can get better as time continues to go on, and they need to do that, and they need to make the changes that need to be made. So hopefully they do that. They play Tampa Bay on Sunday. Tom Brady's come back to town, probably his last time playing here in Pittsburgh, I would imagine, unless when he's 49 or something like that. But Hopefully we see Kenny Pickett build off of last week. I think really everybody thought he played pretty well, especially given the circumstances. The defense needs to step the F up so bad, man. Guys need to catch passes. So we'll see how this Sunday goes. It's not going to be easy, but it is what it is at the end of the day. All we can do is continue to support the team and watch and cry and complain as we always do. But that's going to be it, guys. I just kind of want to come on here, give a different perspective, give some different thoughts on things rather than just bash everything that needs to be bashed. Don't worry, I've done it. If you guys have tuned into the Unofficial Steelers Podcast with myself, Daniel J., and Mark Davison, you guys would hear everything I have to say. But at the same time, I kind of keep this perspective in the sense of what I kind of laid out here and everything like that. But yeah, I would love to see them have a strong second half of the year. Obviously, I want to see guys continue to grow and get better. That's what you want. Anything can happen. But at the same time, they got to make the changes that need to be made regardless how the season goes at the end of the day. So we'll see what happens, guys. Thank you all for your support. I'm actually going to be out of town for the next couple weeks, so I will not be putting content out here. There will be no content on my channel for the next couple weeks, and I will not be on the Unofficial Steelers Podcast with Daniel and Mark. They're going to be holding down the fort down there, so their links are going to be in the description, guys, so you guys definitely want to tune in to their channels Tuesday and Saturdays. It goes back and forth between myself and them two. We all just kind of rotate what channel the show goes on to, but their shows will be in the link, so you guys will want to tune into them this Saturday as they talk about Steelers and Buccaneers. But I will obviously be back on the show when I get back, when I'm back in town here. But they'll hold down the fort and everything, so you guys want to check us out. Like I said, every Tuesday, every Saturday, you guys want to check us out on that. But thank you all for your support and everything like that, and we will see you all soon when we get back. So take care, go Steelers, and we'll see what happens, guys. Have a good rest of your week.